The trash this time is this immortal anti-hero, the guy who should have been humanity's savior, but bro was sealed, and not the comfy cryo-sleep-in-a-pod kind. I mean, straight-up agony, no rest, no break, no death. Trapped for 1,200 years until his sanity was dust. And when he finally came back, he wasn't your shiny hero. Nah, he woke up as humiliated trash. See, the world works like this. Every 3 centuries, the Calamity Demon spawns in like a raid boss to wipe the server called humanity. And the only counter? The so-called 100-man squad? 99 clowns with skills stacked across lifetimes. Sitting at the top of that pyramid was Liam Hill, the absolute champion. Dude had 108 souls packed inside him, stats maxed out, weapon mastery busted. He was the guy who carried the raid, simple as that. And when the Calamity Demon rose, Liam went in, soloing like it was his side quest. He was just about to land the finishing blow when betrayal hit harder than the boss. His own squad, his so-called comrades, stabbed him in the back, snatched his powers, and tossed him into eternal agony alongside the demon. Fast forward. Some mysterious voice slides in like, "Hey, wanna play again?" And Liam wakes up in a body that smells like someone just lost a fight with breakfast. Covered in vomit, can't move. Basically my average Sunday morning, but worse. Then a squad of humans shows up like NPCs from hell. Not to help, but to beat him down, drown him in mud, poison him until he puked his guts out. That's when he realized this body's last owner was nothing but trash. But Liam? He's not trash. He's absolute champion level trash disposal. Even with weak-ass ice magic, he freezes one dude solid like a popsicle. The rest? Tried to dip? Nah, frozen too. Then bro robs them clean and overhears the juiciest gossip. The Liam Descendants game. Yep, generations of his bloodline getting bullied because the history books framed him as a traitor who got clapped by 99 heroes. And you know what? Liam ain't mad. Nah, bro's excited. After that, Liam forced the bullies to lead him back to his dwelling. The place was more ruin than home, crumbling and forgotten, and the bullies couldn't help but whisper to each other, wondering why he insisted they follow him to such a pit. Liam just turned to them, cool and composed, and said they could leave, but warned them this wasn't over. When he reached the door, a man in a formal suit appeared, bowing slightly. "Has His Highness returned?" he asked. Liam froze for a moment, realizing from the respectful tone that the body he now inhabited belonged to a member of the royal family. But try as he might, he couldn't pull more memories from this body. The mind itself seemed to reject them. Turning to the man, Liam asked bluntly about Kai's origin. "He's the 8th prince of the kingdom," the man replied. Liam pressed why Kai wasn't living in the castle, and the man explained there were special circumstances. Inside, Liam quietly seethed, thinking how those bullies had dared humiliate a prince, but he set that aside for now. Noticing Kai's body showed signs of malnutrition, Liam was about to enter when the head butler called after him, urging him to wait. The older man caught up, concern etched in his features. "You seem different. What happened?" At first, Liam bristled. How dare a servant question a royal? But he saw genuine worry in the man's eyes. Taking a deep breath, he decided to be clear. "The Kai you knew is dead," he said plainly. Shock and disbelief crossed the head butler's face. Liam continued, "From now on, consider yourself the servant of another man." Later, as Liam slept in a surprisingly luxurious bedroom, a dream transported him 2,000 years into the past. He and his comrades were battling monsters when a girl cried out to Red Hair, her older brother. Suddenly, a monster struck, hurling red hair through the air and grabbing Mina. Liam appeared in the nick of time, blasting the creature with a massive beam of energy. Looking at the injured Red Hair, Liam assessed, "You're barely alive." Red Hair, ashamed and surprised, asked if Liam had come to save them. Ignoring his pride, Liam healed him with magic, reassuring him it was fine. He checked on Mina and reminded Red Hair that he was gathering strengthening materials. Grateful, Red Hair vowed never to forget the debt he owed Liam. Liam woke with determination. First, he'd thank Kai for lending him this body. Then, he'd hunt down the ungrateful bastards and reclaim what was his. The next morning, the head butler greeted him with breakfast. The food was simple, exactly like yesterday, and Liam grimaced at the bland taste. Explained the meals were personally prepared by the head butler. He wasn't much of a cook, and there was no one else in the palace to help. Liam muttered sarcastically that he couldn't believe this was his second life. The head butler began to apologize, but Liam waved him off. "Don't apologize for things beyond your control," he said, though he made it clear the food situation needed improvement. Fast. The following day, walking to the academy, Liam listened to students discussing the history of magic. He wondered how he would spot Kai's enemies here. Before he could dwell further, a group of students led by Joshua stepped in his path. Joshua, grinning mockingly, welcomed him, clearly aware of yesterday's events, and mentioned how Kai had supposedly given his companions a sound beating. Then Joshua turned to the other students, egging them on. "Can you believe the descendant of Liam dares to resist? We can't let this slide." The students cheered, calling Liam's defiance an offense that needed punishment. Stones were hurled at him, and the bullies mocked him, daring him to flinch. Liam stood perfectly still. Then, suddenly, blood began to trickle from his head. The sharp pain reminded him of what Kai had endured all along. The students froze, terror flashing across their faces at the intensity of his gaze. Joshua barked orders, furious that his followers had stopped, but they were too frightened to move. Seeing his minions fail, Joshua charged at Liam himself, calling him a piece of garbage and demanding he learn his place. His fist slammed into Liam's hand, but instead of yielding, Liam's hand shattered the impact and immediately healed. The onlookers stared, mouths agape. Joshua, fuming, conjured a blazing fireball and screamed for Liam to die. Calmly, Liam raised an ice shield, blocking the attack effortlessly. The fire rebounded, sending Joshua and his companions flying unconscious across the ground. The remaining students gaped, unable to comprehend what they had just witnessed. At that moment, a stout teacher appeared, scolding Kai Asher for causing trouble and claiming he needed more guidance. Liam protested, insisting they were the aggressors, but the teacher ignored him, commanding him to follow. Whispers spread among the students, some mocking, some betting on how long it would take for Kai to recover. Then a sudden headache struck Liam, and a memory flashed before him. The real Kai being tortured by this very teacher. The teacher's scolding dragged him back to the present, but Liam's eyes grew cold. Discipline, is it? Well then, he thought, a chilling smile forming. He would fix this rotten situation, starting with this teacher. Inside the office, the teacher locked the door and began hurling insults, calling him a fake royal, a pervert, and the descendant of a fallen kingdom. Magical purple restraints appeared around Liam's wrists and ankles, pinning him to the wall. Yet he didn't struggle, scream, or cry, leaving the teacher baffled. Frustrated, the teacher grabbed a spiked belt to inflict pain. But before it could strike, Liam summoned a massive ice monster that intercepted it. Shock flashed across the teacher's face as Liam broke the magical restraints and pointedly mentioned the whip marks he had noticed on Kai's body. The teacher tried to cry for help, but Liam warned him, "Speak without permission, and your arm will break." The arm snapped instantly, a sharp scream cutting through the room. Liam's gaze was cold as ice. "Next is the other arm," he said, and the teacher went completely silent, terror rooting him to the spot. Liam looked at the trembling teacher and said calmly, "It seems you hurt Kai a lot." The teacher stammered, trying to defend himself, recalling the twisted justification he had once claimed, that it was part of Kai's education. He covered his mouth, remembering Liam's warning not to speak. Liam's smile was thin and sarcastic. "I see. If there's truly a lesson in whipping, then show me." He commanded the teacher to whip himself. The teacher recoiled, insisting he could not, under any circumstances, obey. Liam's tone grew icy. "Would you prefer an arrow of ice instead?" He summoned a glowing magic circle, letting the threat hang. Terrified, the teacher relented. "Start, and don't forget to take off your clothes first." The teacher knelt, naked except for his underwear, clutching the spiked belt, tears streaming down his face. Blow after blow, he punished himself, screaming with every strike. Exhausted, he asked if it was enough. Liam's calm voice cut through. Yes, just like that. 100 more times. Fear consumed the teacher. After completing the lashes, he collapsed, bleeding and trembling. "I'm finished," he muttered. "Why feel relieved?" Liam asked coldly. "I'm not done yet." The teacher's eyes widened in horror as Liam's gaze pierced him. Students outside whispered, confused and shocked. Suddenly, Liam summoned a towering ice pillar in the courtyard, hoisting the naked teacher to the top. His screams echoed as he was trapped in fear. "Confess," Liam commanded, his voice carrying to the entire school. The teacher begged for release, but Liam ignored him. The ice began melting, and he slid precariously. From below, Liam urged him, "Hurry, confess before you fall." Under pressure, the teacher's voice trembled. He admitted, in front of everyone, that he had stripped Kai and repeatedly whipped him under the guise of educational guidance, but really to relieve his own twisted desires. The students gasped as he wept, begging for forgiveness. Whispers spread. Pierce, the teacher, was finished. He could not remain at the academy. Liam turned to the murmuring students, contempt in his eyes. "Do you find this funny?" He froze them with his stare, pointing from them to the humiliated teacher. "This is the fate of anyone who harms Kai Asher. None of you will escape if you share his sins." Blue light gleamed in his eyes as the weight of his words sank in. Every student, even Joshua, froze in terror. From a distance, Joshua watched, bruised and furious, silently cursing Kai. A girl with long brown hair called him pathetic. Inside the headmaster's office, an elderly man observed, muttering that Kai had gone too far this time. "A student insulting a teacher, the first incident in the academy's history," he said. A bald man shouted at Liam, condemning his insolence. Liam's cold gaze froze the room. He explained that he exposed Pierce because the teacher had been punishing Kai unjustly to satisfy his own twisted desires. The headmaster scoffed. "That's absurd. Pierce is virtuous. He would never do such a thing." Liam blinked, incredulous. "Even after he confessed in front of everyone?" The headmaster shot back. "You tricked him into confessing." The bald man turned to Mrs. Keller, assigning her blame. She offered an apology, then accused Liam of lying, claiming he had come to her months ago crying about bullying. The headmaster interrupted, insisting the academy had no record of punishment or bullying. Mrs. Keller agreed, adding with a sly smile that Kai was gloomy, which made him disliked, and that he blamed others for bullying. Liam stepped forward and stared directly at Mrs. Keller. "In other words," he said calmly, "you rejected Kai's call for help." Anger flared across her face. "Are you threatening a teacher again? Expel him immediately," she demanded. The headmaster, of course, nodded in agreement. Keller leaned closer. "Your dream to become a national healing mage ends today." Liam's thoughts flickered to Kai Asher's dream. As the headmaster stood to announce the expulsion, a sudden knock interrupted the proceedings. The assistant headmaster entered, apologizing for the interruption and delivering an urgent message. The headmaster's expression shifted instantly, shock crossing his features. Turning to Liam, he said coldly, "This time, I'll only give you a warning." Mrs. Keller's jaw dropped. "You're not expelling him? This is absurd. He nearly killed an innocent teacher." The headmaster's voice thundered. "Silence. That is an order from Lord Keith." The mention of Keith stunned everyone present. The meeting ended abruptly, with the headmaster shouting for all to leave, even pushing Liam into the hallway. Liam wondered at the sudden reversal, recalling Mrs. Keller's cruel words about ending his dream. He realized she might also be a target of Kai's revenge, and he would need to search Kai's memories to know for sure. As he walked, a presence caught his attention. At the end of the hallway stood a girl. A sharp memory pierced him. A mocking voice. "This is what you get, Mr. Absolute King." And the cruel scene of Red Hair ordering Violet to torture him, throwing him into the abyss. He saw Violet smile as he fell. Back in the present, the girl approached, saying she had something to tell him. Recognition struck instantly. The reincarnation of Violet was here. Before she could speak, Liam moved in a flash, pinning her against the wall. "I didn't expect you to appear so easily. Save me the trouble of finding you." She feigned ignorance. "Who's Violet?" Grabbing her by the neck, Liam demanded. "You cling desperately to life. Do you think you can escape what you've done?" She tried to resist, casting a wind spell that pushed him back with incredible force. Liam smirked, recognizing her stolen power. "But this is wasted power. You don't even control 10% of it. Unfit to wield it. I will reclaim what you stole." Pain suddenly pierced Liam's body. He coughed up blood. The fragile vessel pushed beyond its limits. His limbs grew heavy, and the world went dark. When he woke, he found himself lying in a bed, Violet and his head butler standing beside him. Violet smiled, relieved. "You're awake." Confused, Liam asked why she was there. She tried to stop him from rising, but he slapped her hand away. The head butler intervened, saying, "Master Kai, Do not treat the lady who saved you this way." "Saved me?" Liam repeated, bewildered. The head butler explained that she had treated him when he collapsed and carried him safely to the palace. His wounds had healed, and in that vulnerable state, she could have done anything, but she hadn't. Suspicion still lingered. Liam confronted her again. "Violet, what are you planning?" She insisted she was his classmate, asking why he kept calling her Violet and if he had truly forgotten. Liam's gaze sharpened. "You're the one faking memory loss. How long will this charade continue? You revealed the power of the wind god, stolen from me in your past life. That alone proves you are the reincarnation of Violet. You cannot hide from me now." The girl looked completely bewildered, muttering about your power and a past life. Liam's gaze sharpened. She had the audacity to keep pretending. He stepped closer, his voice cold and commanding. "I am Liam Hale. 1,200 years ago, traitors sealed me in the abyss. I am the one who survived." The girl repeated his name in shock, her eyes wide. The legendary Liam Hale? Her reaction seemed genuine, yet Liam found it strange. He reached for her chin, questioning if she truly didn't remember, preparing to use his magic, until the head butler intervened. Purple energy flared, stopping him. "Master Kai, please, don't treat the lady so harshly," the butler said. Liam narrowed his eyes. "Whose side are you on?" The butler bowed slightly. "Always yours and always will be. That is why I intervened." Liam's mind raced. "So, Kai is no longer needed. This body now belongs to me?" "Yes," the butler said, calm but curious. "Tell me everything." After a moment of silence, Liam confirmed. This body was indeed inhabited by the spirit of Liam Hale, not Kai. He recounted the suffering he and Kai had endured. The girl shivered, whispering that it was horrific. The butler observed that Liam's acceptance of reincarnation was natural. After all, for 2,300 years, it had been known that the warriors of the 100-man unit inherit memories and powers across lives. The girl bowed deeply. "The wind god's power was stolen from me in my past life. I had no memory of it. I am sorry, on behalf of my past self." She offered to return the power immediately. Liam's smile was faint but sharp. "Of course you will return it, but that isn't the end. I was trapped with the Calamity Demon for 1,300 years, tortured in every way possible. Those who betrayed me will feel the same." He realized they were feigning memory loss to avoid his revenge. "No mercy," he thought, "unless I restore their memories first." "I will read your memories," he said, extending his hand. Nothing happened. The butler stepped forward. "Master, Kai's magic is limited. Only weak ice magic can be used." Frustrated, Liam realized he couldn't even absorb the stolen wind god power yet. "Then I train," he said firmly. "Revenge comes later." The butler and the girl protested, insisting he rest. The butler offered to help with mind-reading magic. Liam scoffed. "The strongest king doesn't rely on others," he said, rising. "I won't be back until I've mastered this ability. No need to prepare meals for me." Training began. Kai's latent magical power was impressive, but his fragile body struggled. Channels of energy surged through him. He coughed up blood but refused to stop. Night after night, Liam pushed himself, driven by sheer willpower. The butler placed a plate of specially prepared food nearby, urging him to eat, but Liam remained focused. After less than 2 days, even low-rank magic yielded results. He mastered mind-reading and ability absorption. As expected, he thought, this body's potential is incredible. His eyes fell on the basket of food. Remembering the butler's warning that it stabilized magical power, Liam finally sat and ate. Memories of Kai surfaced. Kai's pitiful return to the palace, apologizing to himself, offering a letter of recommendation to the butler, who had sworn he would never leave. With his stomach full and his energy partially restored, Liam allowed himself a short, well-earned break. When Liam returned to the palace, he immediately noticed something was wrong. The door stood wide open. A chill ran down his spine as he touched a spot on it and felt the unmistakable warmth of blood. Inside, the scene was worse than he imagined. The head butler lay sprawled on the floor, his face and eyes covered in blood. Liam's voice broke with urgency. "Head butler, stay with me. I'll get you healed." He tried to use healing magic, but his body still couldn't manage it. Grabbing the injured man, he promised, "Wait here. I'll find a healer." The healer arrived, staunching the bleeding and setting the fractures. Though he warned that full recovery would take a month, Liam asked about the butler's right eye. The healer's voice dropped. "It won't recover." A wave of guilt crashed over Liam. He had failed to notice the infiltration. The butler kept apologizing, but Liam silenced him. "Enough. Now tell me who did this." Once he learned the attacker, Liam left the palace with a cold, burning resolve. Meanwhile, Joshua dined in luxury, savoring his meal, when a violent tremor shook the room. He leapt up, startled, as a servant screamed about the palace gate being destroyed.